Joining us right now is Tom Fitton. He's the president of Judicial Watch. I thought it would be good to have you on, Tom, to sort of give us a wrap-up, because this Mueller thing is still going on. People thought by the end of this year it would be over, didn't they? Or will it ever be over?
Oh, I don't think it's going to be over during the Trump presidency, however long it lasts, whether one term or even two terms at this point. It's not about getting justice. It's about getting justice. It's about getting President Trump. And for all the noise this year about Mueller's activities, none of it's had much to do with whether or not Mr. Trump and his campaign unlawfully coordinated with the Russian government to steal emails or steal the election. There's no evidence it happened, and Mueller's running around mentioning Russia as often as he can to distract from the fact that there's no there. And frankly, if I were the president, I would either direct the Justice Department to shut it down or take independent legal action to shut it down.
What's the likelihood of that happening? I know a lot of people believed that as long as the midterm elections were coming up and the Republicans still had control of the House, that he wasn't going to do anything with Rod Rosenstein or with the Mueller investigation. Do you think that the president in the new year with the new Congress is going to say, enough of this?
Well, if he thinks they're going to impeach him anyway, he might as well do the right thing and stop this abusive harassment by the Justice Department of his presidency. The president is supposed to be doing our work, the people's work, not answering to the beck and call of a Mueller operation that's harassing him on silly questions that have no basis in evidence, and to the degree there's any evidence out there, it was concocted by the Hillary Clinton campaign working with Russian intelligence resources through Fusion GPS. I mean, that's the collusion scandal. And Mueller is a symptom of an underlying scandal and abuse of government power, and someone's got to shut it down.
Well, and you saw the last 2 weeks news cycle where it's funny. People were running these stories saying every aspect of President Trump's life, his business, his family, his presidency, his campaign is now under investigation. They were running those stories as if this is some indictment of the president or it shows that the president is in some way corrupt and crooked. I saw those headlines and said, my God, this town will stop at nothing from getting in the way of this president and trying to undo the election. Has any president had to undergo this kind of scrutiny?
No, not even Nixon underwent this type of scrutiny. And this is a radical effort to, as you point out, to overthrow the President of the United States. And it's not like it's a licit investigation. These are illicit investigations. Look, when you look at the Flynn plea agreement and the targeting of General Flynn by the FBI, and the FBI director acknowledging he breached protocol to go and try to ambush him with these questions about his communications with the Russians,
and he said
no real good reason.
He actually said, I got away with it, to the laughter of the Upper West Side or Upper East Side of people at the 92nd Street Y hearing him. I mean, he's bragging that he got away with something that he would never have otherwise gotten away with.
They didn't want President Trump to be president. They had this insurance policy, according to Peter Strzok, in case he did. Christopher Steele admitted that he was gathering evidence to help Hillary Clinton challenge the election. This is what the Justice Department has become, an echo of the Clinton campaign, and now a vehicle for the impeachment effort of the House. And if the House wants to impeach President Trump, let them hire their own darn lawyers. But the Justice Department shouldn't be hijacked for this political effort. And if I were the president, I'd stop him from working on the report, because it's not constitutionally valid for the Justice Department to be writing rumors, a rumor-infected report targeting the President of the United States.
Since you brought up Michael Flynn and Judge Sullivan, I should say, God forbid Justice Sullivan, and the goings-on last week, I wasn't on the air, I was on vacation, but I've been following this story so intently. I'd love to get your explanation on this for me, Tom, on what exactly went down in this hearing, because it almost sounded like Judge Sullivan was giving General Flynn every opportunity to go in and really re-examine the conditions under which he was questioned by the FBI, and General Flynn refused to do so. What is your interpretation of those events?
Yeah, I think that's the unfortunate outcome of the hearing. The judge was using the word treachery, I think, ill-advisedly, and he kind of regretted that. But he was trying to highlight, I think, the president to General Flynn that pleading out to this type of charge could have some consequences and implications he may not like. And so he was, I think, giving him some tough love, as I like to say. And encouraging the withdrawal of his plea agreement, and even offering to bring in a second attorney to give him a second opinion as to whether this is a good idea. But the elephant in the room wasn't addressed directly, unfortunately, which was, as I pointed out, which has been pointed out in the courts and elsewhere, the inappropriate targeting of of Flynn. It is about Trump, but it was the targeting of Flynn by the FBI.
Well, and the unmasking that was illegal, and the leaking, or I guess technically the unmasking wasn't illegal because the president had allowed it, but the leaking of that information. Is anyone investigating those things, Tom? I mean, these are bona fide crimes that we know took place, not the pretend crimes that Mueller is still looking for.
It's pretty clear they're not investigating. In fact, the Justice Department is relying on those illicit unmaskings and the leaking of that to the Washington Post in highlighting why they thought it was important to target Flynn with this ambush FBI interview.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable to me.
Do you have an opinion, though, as to why General Flynn decided to go ahead and stick with his plea? Because that was the opportunity for him to say, you know what, this all smells dirty. Let's air it all out. Let's get it all out.
Well, I guess it's easy for us to say he should challenge it because if he, because there's no skin or fallback if he loses. But if he does lose, and withdraws his plea agreement, he's facing many, many years in jail. And I don't think General Flynn lied. He's probably talked himself into believing that he lied, as he's facing this unbelievable pressure from the federal government that would destroy his life.
Yeah.
So this is a miscarriage of justice we're seeing, and this is why if the court's not going to work, if General Flynn's not going to withdraw the plea, and the Justice Department is going to fess up to its misconduct, this is a job for the president to exercise his pardon power to address this miscarriage of justice.
Well, we know that's your New Year's resolution, Tom Fitton, that you're going to try to get that to happen. We'll see if the president is on board with you. Otherwise, have a great new year, and we look forward to talking to you and Judicial Watch continuing to do its vital work in the new year. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
That is
Happy New Year.
judicialwatch.org, by the way, if you want them to keep up what they do, because God knows the Pelosi Congress won't be doing it.